How's it going, guys? Gotta. I don't see many people saying anything about Rittenhouse. I realize there ain't been any updates. Seems how he's in jail. Nobody gives a shit. Um, we'll tear down, burn down cities, kill people over Jake Blake. Um, the man that police responded to a woman's call for help that the person that had a warrant out for rape against her, the man has returned, stole the keys to her car, high on methamphetamine, and this is the guy they chose to put on Time magazine of Man of the Year. That's the problem with our society today. And if you are saying, if you're screaming racism because of the interaction between Rittenhouse and Jake Blake, let me get something clear. You're not against You're not against racism. You are a racist. Get on the web, go do a search for the KKK, and you may even become a person of high priority. You may hold a top position. Explain your racism. Because you're a moron and you are racist. Let me be clear about another thing. You people walking around talking, just picking out white people you don't even know, you've never met in your life, and demanding them to apologize and saying they're white privilege. You are dealing with racism. You're dealing with racist. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. You're dealing with racism as a racist. That being said, here's proof of Rittenhouse self-defense right here. He did not fire the first shot. All three people. This is mind blowing. All three people he shot had a criminal record. And let me be clear about another thing. You can argue the first two people possibly. The third person that chased him with a Glock 9mm. I'm not sure if it was a Glock or not, but it was definitely like a 9mm, what it looked like. The guy had the gun out. He was coming after him. If the guy right before that hit him with a skateboard, to me, them two were clear self-defense. He was attacked. As the first person, he was attacked. Rittenhouse never fired a single shot. You know what upsets me even more? Is that nobody has stood up for this kid. He was out rendering aid to people that needed help. He was standing up for his city. You know what? That burden should have never been left up to a 17-year-old. I support Trump. I'm a big Trump supporter. And Trump tried to leave the responsibility upon these states' shoulders. Let me just say, this is the one area I think Trump failed in. He did get up and speak a strong message. I will not allow American citizens to become victims. Unfortunately, he did. He did stand by waiting for the states to make the right decision, hoping they would make the right decision. And maybe in a way trying to show America the wrong choices that they were making. My problem is the people's lives, the children's lives that were lost. American people that scraped up enough money to start a business. Nobody cares. Nobody's there to help them. These poor, innocent children. And this pisses me off more than anything. The Black Lives Matter terrorist group, I'm using the word terrorist because they're terrorists. They have not spoke one child's name that has died as a direct cause of their malice. Every one of their protests in Chicago gave and trying to defund the police. There's a lot of people that should be charged with these children's murders. Besides the person that actually pulled the trigger. And not even the news media gave us any coverage. You know what? The day children die as an act as the BLM, domestic terrorist organization. Yeah, that's what you are. It's sad. It's pitiful. Where these are black, these are black African American kids. You know what? To me, they're children. Period. Innocent children. Innocent children. Rittenhouse. Innocent child. Adults asked this child to take on the burden that the cities had to call in the United States government armed forces to help put the city back in perspective. And you're charging a child? You know what? You know who should be charged? Possibly the mayor of that city. Possibly the governor of the state. And the prosecutor damn well needs to be fired. Or you want to make an example out of him? Well, somebody needs to make an example out of you. You let this city down to the point where they called on 17-year-old boys to help protect their city and give aid. That's where we've arrived at. People. In Kenosha, Wisconsin, people called upon Rittenhouse wasn't the only one. There was a group of his buddies. First, they rendered aid to people that got hurt. Then they tried to protect businesses, extinguish fires and dumpsters. And that's when the mob attacked him. That's when the mob attacked him. You know what? For the second time, Wisconsin justice system looks like a joke. And then the third time, the election polls, I don't know, some of us might call this a fucking pattern. Making a murderer, Rittenhouse, election, all fails. Could be a pattern. I choose not to go to Wisconsin. There ain't no telling what'll happen to you. Guys, I'm 41 years old. If I seen a 17-year-old out defending our city, and I was out helping defend our city, I would probably stop what I was doing and take that young man into a building or something and say, I don't care what your level of your experience is, this is not your fight yet. I understand somebody was scared of losing their business, but they never should have asked the boy to. He was asked. Him and his buddies were asked to come out and help, because the law enforcement, everyone and anyone that could have made the call to President Trump and gave him the okay to send the people in. But more importantly, after watching, but at this point, this was not the first city to fall. We've been watching Portland. Jesus, my God. We watched it for 2 months. And then that other city where he set up the Chaz or whatever, they don't need cops. And then they let him take over like blocks. Rape, murder. That's what became of people policing themselves. 2 murders and multiple rapes. Good Lord, people. So let's look at the Self-Defense Act of the Rittenhouse, since nobody else seems.
Among the armed men was 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse.
We don't have non-lethal.
Using multiple videos obtained and verified by ABC News, as well as the.
I just want to point out, in that video he said we do not have non-lethal. So what he was basically saying is all we have is a gun. Which was, as a rifle, it was clearly visible. Some of these protesters were fucking stupid as hell anyway for even trying to attack him.
Criminal complaint against Rittenhouse filed on August 27th. We put together a detailed timeline of the shootings that happened in downtown Kenosha on August 25th, 2 days after Jacob Blake was shot by the police. This report contains graphic, disturbing images. At 10:04 p.m., a video shows a group of armed men protecting a car shop at the corner of 59th and Sheridan. One young man in a green t-shirt and backward baseball cap says, "I'm Kyle." A little over an hour later, protesters gathered at an Ultimate gas station at 60th and Sheridan. We see a man who appears to be Joseph Rosenbaum, one of the shooting victims, clash with armed men also gathered there. Back at the car shop at 59th and Sheridan,
Ain't that something? They kind of blocked out what he said, but just so y'all know, he said, "Shoot me, nigger."
car shop at 59th and Sheridan, the same young man who appears to be Kyle Rittenhouse can be seen asking law enforcement. The same young man who appears to be back at the car shop at 59th and Sheridan, the same young man clashed with armed men also gathered there. Back at the car shop at 59th and Sheridan, the same young man who appears to be Kyle Rittenhouse.
Let me make a correction. He was okay. So I seen another video where he said that. My apologies. Fact checks. You don't have to fact check me. I admit I was wrong about when he said this is the wrong video. He said it in another video. We'll do a search later and see if I can find it, just so y'all know I'm not lying about it. But there was definitely a video earlier in the day of him saying it.
Can be seen asking law enforcement for water, and the officers can be heard speaking to the group.
We appreciate you guys, we really do.
At 11:48 p.m., gunshots ring out.
Gunshots down there.
First 4 bursts, then 3. A man who police identified as Rittenhouse runs across the parking lot of an auto service shop, followed by a shirtless man who is later identified as Joseph Rosenbaum. Moments later, shots ring out. And the shirtless man falls to the ground. A figure who appears to be Rittenhouse continues running. Seconds later, he comes back into view, and bystanders arrive to help the victim. Rittenhouse can be seen standing by the body making a phone call. As more people arrive, he runs away out of frame, and someone seems to be heard saying, "I shot somebody." At 11:49, multiple videos show Rittenhouse running down the street as a pursuer tries to hit him. Rittenhouse is being chased by several people when he appears to stumble and falls to the ground. While on the ground, police say he fires at least 4 shots, striking 2 people. Anthony Huber is shot and lies motionless in the street. Gage Grosskreutz is shot in the arm and appears to be holding a handgun, according to the criminal complaint. Rittenhouse gets up and runs down the street as police arrive at the scene. People in the crowd can be heard yelling. Rittenhouse raises his hands while his rifle hangs around his torso, and a number of police vehicles drive past him. He walks towards a squad car, which is parked near the First United Methodist Church. This is the last time we see him on video ABC News obtained. Rittenhouse was not arrested that night in Kenosha.
The last night, a 17-year-old individual from Antioch, Illinois, was involved in the use of firearms.
Police issued an arrest warrant for him the next day, and Kyle...
One of his charges was bringing a firearm over state lines. This charge is incorrect, just so y'all know. And this is not the video I thought that showed the breakdown of timeline and gunfire. Since we're almost through it, we'll just go ahead and finish up.
Kyle Rittenhouse turned himself in Antioch, Illinois. He was arrested on multiple charges, including first-degree intentional homicide. According to police, Rittenhouse said he was in Kenosha to resolve whatever conflict was in place. In an earlier interview, Rittenhouse said he was there to protect businesses and help people. Rittenhouse's lawyer released a 3-page statement arguing his client feared for his life and was acting in self-defense. The shooting left 2 people dead and another injured.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel.
A 17-year-old called Kyle Rittenhouse has been charged with 2 counts. There's a lot of confusion about what does this add up to? Can kill him. Rittenhouse, he's from the firm Pierce Bainbridge, and we're happy to have him on tonight.
This is
Mr. Pierce, thanks so much for coming on.
Get through it pretty quick.
Hi Tucker, thank you so much for having us to get the true story out of what happened in Kenosha that night.
Well, I'm eager to know, because this is one of those stories that...
This is 100% self-defense, Tucker. Removed some graffiti of his life's work, so he asked for help. Kyle and his friends decided that nobody was doing anything to protect that community, and they decided that they would answer that call and help to protect that business. Kyle actually took a first aid kit downtown because he was concerned that there would be wounded protesters downtown. And in fact, he took a firearm because Kenosha had become a war zone.
Right.
And any sensible person would take that. And him and his friends stayed on the premises and protected that property. And then some events started to unfold whereby he was trying to treat medically wounded protesters, and ultimately he got trapped out on the street, out in the open, because the riot police had moved the line far enough down that they were between himself and that premises.
So I have read that he brought a firearm as a juvenile, 17, across state lines. A lot of people.
That is incorrect.
That's incorrect. Tell us where the gun came from.
That is incorrect. That is incorrect. That firearm never crossed state lines. That is a legal firearm in the state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin is an open carry state. That charge is incorrect as a matter of state law. As a 17-year-old, he was legally entitled to have that firearm in his possession. Moreover, we are going to be arguing that the Second Amendment and Title 10, Section 246 of the United States Code renders that charge, and any ordinance that charge would be based on blatantly unconstitutional under these circumstances.
Right. Well, that's really a tertiary charge anyway, because there are other. Let me ask you about the first shooting of Joseph Rosenbaum.
Sure.
The second two, one man was shot in the arm, the other was shot in the midsection and died. Both of them clearly, and that's obvious on video, attacked Rittenhouse. But the first shooting.
And I just want to point out one thing. This kid, he was rolling on the ground, taking shots. I probably couldn't have done this. In fact, I know I couldn't have. I mean, I could have rolled on the ground and took shots, but not. I mean, this kid was like Rambo. And look at all the Black Lives Matter terrorist group and Antifa scatter off over one 17-year-old. They had guns too. Of course, that's okay. Even though he was legally carrying a gun. The rest of them wasn't. The guy that got shot in the arm, you think he got charged with anything? No, because in Wisconsin, you break the law, no problem. You self-defense, or like in making a murder, don't kill somebody, but you're not liked, you're hated, then you get charged with something. Don't like the president? That's okay. In Wisconsin, we're real good at election fraud. Apparently Michigan too. As Cynthia Johnson said, the Harrison Biden team owes the city of Detroit. Why would a campaign owe one city over all the ones that voted that were actual legal votes for Biden and Harris? Why would they owe one city more than anybody else? Gee, I wonder. I don't know. Because we did something no other city did. We cheated for Biden and Harris. We made sure y'all stole the election. You owe us. We would like to thank Cynthia Johnson for her acknowledgement and her role. You know what? That's another video, but I just, it's hard not to bring all this stuff up. It's hard. And in any of these videos, you know why, people? Because it's all related. It's all relative.
Was Rittenhouse fired upon before he fired? Did he believe he was fired upon? What were the circumstances of that shooting?
Absolutely. There was the New York Times has a report and has analyzed this very closely. There was a shot that was fired as Kyle was retreating, actually, from a mob that had become enraged that he was trying to put out fires that the arsons had set, and because he was trying to protect property.
You guys can find it if you know. I apologize for bringing up the wrong video. Maybe I'll do another video in a couple days, just for the simple fact I want to keep bringing this up. You know, the news media. You know, where is the outrage for this poor kid? And President Trump, I'm saying this right now, if he is charged with a crime, I sure in the hell hope you pardon him right away. And get him the hell out of Wisconsin. Because after Trump leaves office, they'll do something else to get him back in prison. If he does get a pardon somehow, Rittenhouse, I hope you hear this. Get the hell out of Wisconsin. Don't ever go back. Don't go back to Illinois. I'm talking like, go to Alabama. Go start a new life. Get away from that shit. Wisconsin will never let you go, even with a pardon.
The mob became enraged. They began screaming that Kyle needed to be killed, and they were going to kill him. They started relentlessly hunting him as prey as he ran down the street.
They started relentlessly hunting him as prey. Only problem is that sometimes you become the hunted becomes the hunt. The hunters sometimes become the hunted, and the roles reversed here. One kid cleared out what the city had to bring in the United States Army Reserves had to do the next night. It's just sad. All these children affected. And there should be protests every day at that jail for this kid. Peaceful protests. Where y'all at for this kid? Where, I mean, it's just sickening, man. And it's sad. This has already been a long kind of video because we've done 2 videos. We'll shut it down right here. I'm going to do a couple more videos if I can get them in. And God bless y'all. Please pray for these children. Pray for these innocent children. I'm going to say a quick prayer. Dear God, please, we'd like to ask that you protect all innocent children. Please give these adults some sense about them. Please help them understand that they are causing violence in your own city and destruction. Even if some groups are paying you to do it, doesn't make sense. And it doesn't help your city. It'll bring them in a spotlight, but it ain't gonna help. You know, why would you want to be responsible for the death of an innocent child? When you fire that gun off, you never know where that bullet's gonna land. if you're shooting off in a city. And if you can't legally carry that gun, you have no right to be having it to begin with. Jesus, we ask that you please help protect these children. If nothing else, please, God, help protect our children. We ask that you help give our Republicans the power to bring some of these people to justice, as it had something bad to do with our election fraud. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. People, that's it for this video. It's been really long already. My apologies. There's just so much going on. I'm going to do a couple more. Mitch McConnell, you go up next. And peace, we out.